Yes, this is a really difficult video to record because I've ignored my own advice and I've just torn my groin.
He's an asshole.
Yes, I know, it's hardly a great advert for a fitness professional, but let's not dwell on that. So over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to share the stupid mistake that I made and what you need to do as a man over 40 to dramatically decrease the risk of injury. So here's the breakdown of today's video. In part 1, I'm going to cover how I tore my groin and what I didn't do to mitigate the risk of this happening. And in part 2, I'm going to go into the starting points of healing my groin tear and then the exercises that I went through to re-strengthen my hips. But just before we get started, I want to give you a little bit of background on injuries. Top athletes who have a professional team of experts around them 24/7 still encounter injuries. Regardless of the amount of good preparation you can do for your body, injuries are just a natural part of the process of getting a fitter, more athletic, more aesthetic body. So, like our American friends would say, just got to embrace the suck.
Anything sucks. I like it. I like it.
But with all that said, there's a lot that you can do to greatly reduce the risk of injuries and rebuild your body in your 40s. If you're new here, hi, I'm Lewis Bailey, personal trainer and mobility strength coach. I specialise in helping men over 40 rebuild their bodies to become fit, athletic and aesthetic. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. Part 1, how I tore my groin and what I didn't do to mitigate the risk of this happening. So the first thing to note is, due to the complexities of the human body, it's actually quite difficult to know exactly what it is that's caused an injury, unless, of course, it was direct trauma.
Look!
The complexities that impact your body can actually be broken down into 5 zones. However, more of that on another video. Even though causation is difficult, there are a couple of principles that we can follow to really kind of find out a couple of smoking guns that may be part or fully responsible. So a little bit of background of my circumstances, I will spend around about 10 hours a week actually deliberately training.
Loser.
Yes, I know, 10 hours may seem a bit excessive. However, to be fair, I do really enjoy training. I enjoy lifting heavy weight. I enjoy the feeling of the strength that it gives my body. I enjoy the aesthetic appearance that then also provides my body. I enjoy mobility training because I like my joints, the way that my joints to feel good and supple and able to move athletically. But I also like to be fit as well, so I enjoy cardio training. Because of the enjoyment of all those worlds, I do end up spending around about 10 hours per week training. Just out of interest, if you want to know how I structure 10 hours a week of training within inside my own busy schedule, then just comment below and I'll put a video together within the next couple of weeks for you. Okay, so back to the injury. So I was beginning to feel niggles in my groin region, but because my training was going so well, I didn't want to break up the momentum, so I decided I'll just push a bit harder, like an idiot.
Who is he? He's an asshole, sir.
Okay, so the key point here is, regardless of your momentum in training, regardless of your ability level of training, if you start to feel unrecognizable pain, then you need to stop. Because this is the point where it's about to all go wrong. So, the best thing for you to do at this point is now to change course. When I assessed my adductor muscle strength, which are the muscles on the inside of your thigh, they were significantly weaker in relation to the rest of the muscles around my hips. So despite having reasonably good range of motion, failing to address the weak areas in my hips, the adductors in this case, left me exposed when starting to lift heavier weights. So being like a yoga bunny just isn't enough. You need to have that strength in that end range of flexibility within the joints. So you may be now starting to think and wonder, how the hell am I actually supposed to know myself if I've got tight or weak hips? Well, don't worry because I've got you covered. Just simply comment the word hips below and I will be able to send you my free full hip mobility audit, which takes you step by step on how you can check to see whether you are tight or weak in the areas of your hips. Okay, so let's jump into part 2. My starting point for the first week of healing my groin tear and the re-strengthening of my hips. These are the 3 key practices I followed in order to rehabilitate my groin strain. Number 1 was isometrics. I went through the wall squat and the Copenhagen plank. Then number 2 was mobilizing the region by going through lateral lunges and supported Cossack work. And then number 3 was then low load movements, which is basically weighted lateral lunge and adductor drags. So the first isometric exercise is going to be the wall squat. So here I'm just basically going to warm up the legs. So this is going to help the adductor muscles, so the inside of the thighs, just to basically warm them. So I don't feel too much tension here at all. It's mainly in the quadriceps. However, this starts to get the adductors ready and warm up for the next exercise, which is now going to move in more into a little bit more of isometric. So here I'm just using a pad and then just squeezing the pad together, as you can see there. Legs nice and tight, squeezing the muscles together, really kind of pulling the legs in towards each other. Just doing 10 seconds on and then followed by 10 seconds off to release. And then once I've obviously had that few seconds rest, then start to like bring the intention back into the legs and then continue on with the squeezing for 10 seconds. Now I then move on to the Copenhagen plank, which is really going to isolate now the adductor muscle there on the inside of the right thigh. Well, this creates now a good amount of tension in the adductor itself, so it's not painful, but it's uncomfortable. But this is about now trying to regain that little bit of strength without going through a big range of motion. So this helps to really re-strengthen then the adductor. Okay, so next up is mobilizing the region. So this is all about now trying to melt down the actual area itself where we've got obviously the amount of tension and weakness. And so what I'm looking to do here is just really loosen off all of the tissue in that region, obviously including the adductors there, but really starting to move the hips forwards and backwards. So we're not stretching, we're just mobilizing that area and melting it down, ready for movement. So now I'm gonna go into supported Cossacks. So this is about basically just using the ground and just slowly mobilizing the whole of the hips and the limbs just to be able to get myself into those positions. So I'm about to actually go into this exercise as part of the resistance. So first of all, I want to potentiate that movement just by going in from side to side to get ready for the movement that I'm about to do. And finally, low load movements. So this is about now really trying to load the actual hip joints in a more functional capacity. So we're moving here into more of a bodyweight Cossack, and we're just trying to basically get into those positions there where we're starting to load the hips up, and we're going to place a little bit more resistance on there as well, just by handling our own body weight to start to strengthen that area. Because I'm happy with the range of motion, it's now time to step into a little bit of loaded lateral lunging. So I'm just bringing a little bit of weight into the equation now and starting getting the limb itself, the adductors, to start doing more work just to kind of get that involved, so I can start to move through that whole process of recovery and strengthening in a good range of movement. And then finally, we've got the adductor drags. So this is basically now placing a lot more stress on the adductor itself in a more isolated capacity, but still in a kind of functional movement as well. So basically what I'm doing here is just sliding the foot out, so using a surface where I can slide the leg, and I'm going to place great pressure by dragging that leg back in towards the midline of the body. Basically what I can do here is I can adjust the amount of pressure that I put on this, so I can feel discomfort but I don't feel any pain whatsoever. So I'm working the muscle tissue there and really starting to pull that in and use it as much as possible, but I'm not causing any serious pain. So if I hit a pain level of anywhere near a 6 out of 10, then I need to obviously just reduce that. And this allows me to be able to adjust the amount of tension that I place on that on every single repetition that I do. It's at this point that it's probably worth just saying, if you've got a torn muscle yourself, then make sure that you go and see a soft tissue specialist to start the rehabilitation process, and also give yourself 2 to 3 days before you start doing any exercise in the injured area. So that's the process that I've been through to rehabilitate my hips following on from my groin injury. Don't forget to comment the word hips below to access my free mobility hip audit. And also check out the next video where we'll be covering the 2 key mobility hip tests that you're going to need to pass as a man in your 40s. Hope you found this video useful. Please give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.